Good morning, my little superheroes. Tell me, if you could have any superpower, what would it be?
The power to read minds.
Super speed. Pew!
The power to heal the sick.
Well, you can get smart, speed, and good health with the superhero trio from Orange. Orange has delicious omega-3 bursts, sugar-free multivitamin liquid, and flavored vitamin A, C, and D chewables to support a strong immune system, healthy bone development, and acute mental performance for superheroes like you. Part of the Orange family.
If you need protection, you need one who you can trust. To secure your investment, you need one who'll do you just. TDC Insurance, you're the one that you can trust. TDC Insurance, you're always safe with us. TDC Insurance is your go-to insurance company for all your insurance needs. We take pride in offering you the best solutions and ensuring our customers are fully satisfied. TDC Insurance, we take good care of you, guaranteeing you peace of mind. You're always safe with us.
Your computer or phone is your Flow cashier. Thanks to Fast Pay on our website. It's a quick and easy way to pay your bills anytime on any device. No need to register. Simply select the bill to be paid, enter your account number or mobile number and the amount you wish to pay, plus where to email the receipt. Then make the credit card payment. It's that easy. Fast Pay for Flow bill payments at discoverflow.co.
Good morning, St Kitts and Nevis, and welcome to another edition of Voices on WINN FM 98.9. Good morning to all of you who are listening via the radio, those of you who have joined us via the World Wide Web, and of course those of you tuning in via social media platforms. Good morning, and this is Voices on WINN FM 98.9. I am your host for today, Devon Cornelius. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Today is Wednesday, the 7th day of July 2021. We're still under a 24-hour lockdown. As I understand it, we are going to be allowed limited movement tomorrow for essential purposes only, essential services only. Tomorrow, Thursday, as well as Friday, you're allowed to go out and do essential business only. Now, this morning, or for today's Voices, I want to touch on a topic that I think has not been touched on for a very long time. Or matter of fact, to my knowledge, many people have not entertained a conversation surrounding this topic. And I think it is rather interesting, and I hope to get your full participation today. I want to talk about absentee ballots versus flights versus bringing in voters, as we will call it, overseas voters. Now, for many years, we have heard the call for there to be absentee ballots. So for people who are unable to return home or return to their home country to cast their vote, the call has been made for there to be absentee ballots where you can stay at home from the comfort of your home and cast your vote. Now, for many years, this has just been a conversation, to my understanding. And so people have just been talking about it, and that's it. In terms of any action, that has been taken? I can't recall. I can't recall. Well, specifically speaking about the Caribbean and even here in St. Kitts and Nevis. Now, for our elections, both federal elections and Nevis Island Assembly elections, over the years prior to COVID-19, we have seen political parties bring in hundreds, or I dare say thousands of people at this time to cast their vote. We would often hear the flights have landed, the flights are here, and people are coming home. People are coming home from the United States, people are coming from the United Kingdom, people are coming from other Caribbean islands. They're coming home to cast their votes. And as I said earlier, they come in their numbers. They come in their hundreds, they come in their thousands. Now, there are some people that see this as something that should not be done. Some people believe that the only people who should be allowed to cast their vote in elections are those that reside in the country. And so essentially, they're saying who lives here should be allowed to vote here. And if you don't live here, you should not vote here. Now, that has been a conversation that has been going on for many years. We saw in the context of COVID-19 where we had a general election last year, June 5th, 2020, and we did not see any overseas flights. And so the election in St. Kitts and Nevis, the results were determined by the people who live in the Federation. However, in the past, we have seen where charters come in with private jets and airlines bringing hundreds and thousands of people. And many questions have been raised as to why is this a tradition, particularly in the Caribbean, where political parties spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to bring in these people to cast their vote. Now, there are some people, as I said, that believe that this should not happen, and for many reasons. You would often hear of allegations or accusations that whichever government is in power, they bring in their flights, and the question as to who pays or who has to lift the financial burden of paying for these overseas flights is usually said that it is the government. And so while there is no concrete evidence or proof to reinforce that claim that governments in power would use money from the treasury to pay for overseas flights, or while there is no document to show, or let me say, political parties have not revealed how much they spend on bringing in overseas flights. Now, we know that these flights cost a lot, and the people who come on these flights, they don't pay a red cent, but they come, and they come in their numbers. And so definitely it is paid, but who is paying for it? And so this is why some people believe that it should not happen. Let people who hear vote here. Now, that has been a very tense conversation, and I'll say why. There are people who do not reside in St. Kitts and Nevis that make a very meaningful and significant contribution to our development. There are people who don't live here, and sometimes you don't even know that they don't live here because they are involved in every activity, they contribute, they donate to, and they are a part of every activity here in the Federation. On many occasions, they make more of a contribution than people who actually reside in the Federation. And so whenever that time comes for general and local elections, the question is, how dare you ask these people to sit out this election? They feel too that they have a voice. they feel too that they should be part of the electoral process because they have been contributing financially, economically, to the development of St Kitts and Nevis. And so how do you tell them that they can't participate in the election because they don't live here? Now, many of these people are citizens of St Kitts and Nevis. And the question is, can you tell somebody who has a passport, they may not live here, but who has a passport for the Federation of St Kitts and Nevis, that they cannot participate in the elections? And so this is a conversation that has been ongoing for some time, but of course, not publicly, but you would often hear it behind closed doors, and people are adamant that people should be allowed to come home and vote. Now, there are others who push the argument that some people come home, they vote, they leave. And so they only come once every 5 years. You don't see them, you don't hear them, they don't make a contribution, they don't add nothing to our development. And so there is a pull and a tug between allowing people who make a contribution to nation building to come home and cast their vote versus those people who just come in once every 5 years to cast their vote. But it goes right back to the same question. How do you tell someone who is a citizen, who is a holder of a St. Kitts and Nevis passport, that they cannot participate in these elections? It's a very tricky conversation. Now, when you look at the absentee ballots, there are some benefits to it. Now, firstly, for those of us, or those of you who do not understand what an absentee ballot is, an absentee ballot is a vote cast by someone who is unwilling, or in this case, unable to attend the official polling station to which the voter is normally assigned or allocated. So we know here in St. Kitts and Nevis, if you reside in a particular district, you will be assigned to a polling station located at a particular community center or at a police station or some government state-owned facility. Now, methods include postal voting, which simply happens when your ballot is mailed in. Or you can get mail, you can get a ballot from your country, cast your vote, and you can mail the ballot back to your country. Or you have the online voting, where you can vote via a website, which is usually built and organized or implemented by the state. So that is a way of the absentee voting. However, we have not seen this in St. Kitts and Nevis and other Caribbean countries. We have not seen this being practiced. Now, it begs the question, why? It begs the question, why? Now, I have had behind those conversations about why people are not open to absentee ballots. And it is because people say they don't trust the system. They don't trust the government. When I say the government, I'm talking about this particular government, but government as a whole. They don't trust the administration at the time to be responsible for implementing the absentee ballot system, because some believe, some claim that they may rig it in their favor. Some believe that they may put it in their favor. So the results may come out in their favor. Now, that is a serious claim. That is a serious thing to even think of. And so I guess it goes now to a lack of trust in our electoral system, because over the years we often hear, after elections that, local dialect, they cheat, or this is not the true result of the election, and names were taken off and all of things. And so over the years, people have always had, particularly here in St. Kitts and Nevis, and of course other Caribbean islands, people have not had trust and confidence in the electoral system or in the electoral process. And so how now do you ask people to trust you to implement an online platform where people can go and cast their vote. But quickly, if I may share with you some advantages of an absentee ballot. Now, voter convenience and satisfaction. Of course, as I said before, you can vote from the comfort of your home. And so you no longer have to leave, to drive miles, or to fly miles to get to your polling station. You can vote from the comfort of your home, whether you are voting via the website, which would be organized by the state, or you are doing a mail-in method. Financial savings. Now, states, governments may save money as they would no longer need to get the amount of staff to fill traditional polling stations. And so you won't need to have to, hire staff to fill the 20 plus or 40 plus polling stations across the country. Voter turnout. Now, there may be an increase in voter participation as people would not have to drive, as I said before, to get to their polling district or station, or have to wait in long lines. I have seen for myself where people will leave their home to go to vote, and after they see the length of the line, they go back home. And so having that convenience where you can vote from the comfort of your home, I believe, increases voter turnout and voter participation. And of course, you have people who do not reside in St Kitts and Nevis and may not be in a position to come home. Yes, remember I said these flights that come around election time, they are not paid for by the people who come on these flights. They're paid for by investors of political parties and things like that. And so it is a situation now where people are unable to leave their jobs, people are unable to leave their family and loved ones. And so, having a absentee ballot is definitely, or I think would definitely be an advantage or a significant plus to voter participation. And definitely you will see the numbers or the turnout increase rapidly. Now, some reasons why people don't want an absentee ballot system, tradition. People are accustomed to voting with members of their household, family and friends, as well as their neighbors. People like to go to the polling stations together as one, so they can talk some politics before and go and vote. Security. Some people don't trust the system. Also, there may be fear of, you being coerced by others, coercion by family members while in the voting process. And so you're online, you're going to cast your vote, and there are people pressuring you, telling you who to vote for. No, this is not different. This is not different from, the traditional voting where you go to the polling station, because sometimes before you get to enter the polling station, people are there to pressure you and say who you should vote for, who you should cast your vote for. Financial considerations. Now, whenever we have the traditional voting, you would realize that you have to vote via a ballot. And so the cost to print these ballots would be significant. And so if you eliminate having to go to the polling station to use these ballots where you can vote online, then definitely that would help, or that would be an advantage. And of course, last but not least, slow vote counting. Now, St Kitts and Nevis is famous for this. I've seen other countries do it, and they do it in less time. Now, in 2015, the 2015 general elections were a disaster. It was a disaster. It took us nearly more than a day to get the results. Last year was the same thing. The polling stations closed at, I think, 6 o'clock, and you found out a whole day, basically later, who the winners are of the elections, or you got the final results, rather. It happens frequently here in St Kitts and Nevis. Elections are held, and 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 hours after, you still don't know who the winner of the election is. Or you still don't know what the final count or the final result is. We've seen other countries that have the same system as us, where they don't have the absentee ballots, but they count their votes in less time. Bigger countries have counted their votes in less time. For example, Jamaica. Jamaica had elections in September of 2020. And in hours, in couple hours, they knew who the prime minister was, and they knew what the election results were. Here in St Kitts and Nevis, I cannot understand why, but here in St Kitts and Nevis, I don't know if it has been over the years a deliberate attempt or just our way of doing things, but you find out hours, sometimes a day later, what the final results are for these elections. And so this is why people believe, too, that apart from having an absentee voting system, there needs to be electronic voting. Angola had elections during the pandemic, and in about an hour, or less, I believe, people, citizens and residents of Angola, knew who the premier was, knew what the final results were. Now, is that the case for St Kitts and Nevis? This is a conversation I want to entertain with you, those of you who are listening to today's edition of Voices. It's 21 minutes past the hour of 11. I've been talking all morning, so I am going to take this short break to say thank you to the sponsors for this program, and when we come back, we're going to open the phone lines, and I am going to allow you to call in and to weigh in. Are you in support of absentee ballots, or you prefer to come home and vote, or you prefer people to come home and vote? I want to hear your opinion on that. Let's take the short break, and we will be right back.
Your computer or phone is your flow cashier. Thanks to Fast Pay on our website, it's a quick and easy way to pay your bills anytime on any device. No need to register. Simply select the bill to be paid, enter your account number or mobile number and the amount you wish to pay, plus where to email the receipt. Then make the credit card payment. It's that easy. Fast Pay for flow bill payments at discoverflow.co.
When the star them there, we are top man, we take charge. Have no reaching now, we are shell down bars. Blast like a star in some Galapagos. Overdo it, we take it too far. Take charge, take charge.
We are hot gal, we set the trend. Magnum we drink for the top man then. Wine with the style, no stop from spin. Hot blend, back bend, and take charge, take charge.
Magnum tonic wine, for the real star them. Take charge, take charge. Must be 18 or older, drink responsibly.
Gift for Dad's birthday? Click. Ooh, Janice's retirement party? Click. Outfit for my girl's wedding? Click.
With TDC Airbox, you click, we ship. Register for your free US mailbox today and shop all your favorite stores online. Enjoy the convenience. Free consolidation up to £10. Competitive rates. Free package tracking account with live notifications. Free delivery and, of course, excellent customer service. Visit our website at tdcairbox.com and register today. For more information, visit our offices at the C.A. Paul Industrial Site in St. Kitts and Penny's Industrial Site in Nevis. Follow us on social media at TDC Airbox. TDC Airbox. You click, we ship. Terms and conditions apply.
Good morning, good morning. Welcome back to Voices on WINN FM 98.9. It's 25 minutes past the hour of 11, and you're listening to Voices. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. The phone lines are open. The numbers to call are 466-0989-762 and 662. Call us today and be a part of this discussion. We have our first call for this morning. Let's take this call. Caller, good morning. You are live on Voices.
Hey, good morning, Devon. How are you doing?
Good morning. I'm doing fine, and you?
Oh, you're giving God thanks as usual. I have a lot to be thankful for, you know.
Great.
All of us in St Kitts and Nevis have a lot to be thankful for. All we need is a grateful heart, you know. Now, let me start with the first category of people you talk about. Our law clearly states that anyone applying for citizenship under the Citizenship by Investment Program are not allowed to vote. So before they applied, they knew it. Now, for some political party to come now and trying to say, oh, they must vote. I have heard people who are actually ministers of government coming with that argument. Now, if you look at the amount, you know, some country may just have one or two. I can't bet on it. But for the rate, if you look at the amount of money that we pull in, it is possibly that we have more people out there with our passport than we have on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing, they have no case. Because before you applied, you would have seen, you would have known, you would have been told. So to come now and say, well, oh, they have a passport, no, darling. They are not allowed to vote, and they should never be allowed to vote. That is
you
my
mean
position,
people who apply for the CBI program?
You didn't know that is the law?
I'm asking you what you said. Do you mean people who applied? I'm asking you, do you mean people who applied to the CBI program? I didn't hear you clearly, that's why I'm asking.
The law says that they cannot vote. So if you went ahead and took the passport, you can't come back now and say, it's like you're going courts to buy a TDC or hospital to buy a bed or something, and they tell you, look, there's no warranty on this. Because, you know, sometimes they do that on electrical goods, eh?
Mm-hmm.
You can't go back and say, well, before you were told before. So when I hear people making that kind of intervention for them, they don't understand the implication. They're not, most of them, very few if any, well, there will be some from Nigeria. They're not even of the same ethnic group as us. And as simple as they take it, you could have our country taken over by another country. Because people, while they may have your passport, they also have other passports. And most of us we show our allegiance to our place of birth. So to many of them, a passport don't mean the same thing like it means to us, you know. When you're rich, it gives you, you know, access to different countries that you cannot get with your own country's passport. There's nothing about no loyalty, nothing. So that the law states clearly they cannot vote. Now let's get to the mail-in. If you follow in American news, you see how they stormed the Capitol on January 6th?
Mm-hmm.
The issue, that was the issue, you know. Trump made it the big issue, you know that?
Mm-hmm.
Trump said, no. Whatever, they must, after they don't count the people who are in the line, they must declare the winner. And they accused the Democratic Party of using mail-in ballots to swamp their numbers. And right now, there are many states where you have conservative, Republican governors and so. They're making up all kind of rules to stop or to limit vote-in ballots. Do you know that? Are you aware of that? You aren't?
No, I'm not.
Well, check it out. A lot of them until now, they're planning, the federal government now planning to intervene because it is called voter repression. You know about voter repression?
Mm-hmm.
Because what they say in the areas where the black people live, because most of them are Democrats, they used to have drop-off places where you could have drop off your ballot. They now move them so that they make it, you have longer distance to drive. They're now saying, look, when you mail in a ballot, we're not sure if the signature on the ballot is the same as the one that they have. All kind of things. So as far as the Republicans are concerned, they don't want anything. Trump was saying it. And if they call themselves the most democratic country in the world, and they are strongly against it, and other countries, it is when things, with all political parties, when things go against them, then you hear the rules change. The one where they, you know that. I think you're smart enough to know that. Now, the one with the overseas voters. I think in 2007, they had some kind of sham electoral reform. Sham. Why I say sham? They just gave you a card. They gave you a card, but people were re-registering in areas where they never lived. So when people say, look, like when you go to register now, you have to have proof of residence, right?
Yes.
A lot of those overseas, some of them never put foot here, don't even know where it is or where it comes. So if you were to go and open it up without having serious re-registration, you just continue the same thing. You continue the same thing because the party who could set up the most thing, because what the Republicans are saying is that most of they vote the ballot, absentee ballot. They say, well, all the people didn't ask for them. The party send them to them. So the party swamp the people with their ballots, and they ship them back. Now, suppose your party can't afford all the postage. What happened to you?
Uh-huh. Huh? So with that being said, which one are you in support of? Absentee ballots or bringing home?
The one on the ground.
You prefer the one on the ground?
In the old time days, right? You use the Bratter days. Let me go back to the Bratter days because people like to run back there and then they forget. Once you left the country, I don't remember how long, but it wasn't very long. Your name was taken off.
Oh, your name was taken off the voters list?
Yes, because you no longer live here.
So you think we should go back to something like that?
No, what we should do, I think the law had said, right? If you miss 2 elections, your name's supposed to come off. You know that?
That's what the law says now?
I think so.
Oh, I'm not aware of that. I'm going to have to do some research on that.
Yeah. I think that if you go to St Kitts and Nevis or something, you should find the law, the electoral law, and even this thing about the $30,000 if you vote where you never register. I mean, all of these things go down the drain. So what we have are people, artists, looking for ways of means of manipulating the electoral process. Now the counting to me is ridiculous. If I count these pieces of paper once, twice, they should not be counted again. Don't tell me you're counting 4 times. And the way it's done.
So you mean you count the ballots once and that's it?
Maybe twice, but not 3, 4 every minute you're counting the same thing? What you expect a new number? Now, why Jamaica and their own finish quicker is that they count at the polling station. Because you vote there, they know how many casts. Just like how they have a representative at each station, they could count them there. And if you want to count over, but in St Kitts, we made about Nevis, the boxes have to be picked up, all, and brought to one specific place, one place. So they got to go all over the island, bring them to Bastille, maybe by the police station or the police complex or wherever they count them. It takes up a lot of time. By the time you go from there, you know, and then it's one vehicle. I mean, that thing don't even make sense. You don't need one vehicle. Put them in the army truck, you know. So we ourselves, I don't even know if we could trust.
I'm going to end this call with you. I want to get some of the callers in quickly before we...
Yes. So think about what I say and check out the electoral laws for yourself.
Definitely. Thank you so much for your call. We're going to take some more calls at this time. The numbers to call are 466-0989-762 and 662. Very interesting conversation we are having. Are you in favor of absentee ballots, or you believe in overseas flights? You believe in bringing in people to cast their votes? So call us and let me get your take on this. Very good points made by the caller a while ago. In terms of people coming home to vote, it is the point, I made the point earlier, and I want to stress that point again. You do have people who make a very meaningful contribution to nation building here in St Kitts and Nevis. And so, again, you know, how do you tell these people that they can't come home to vote? Meanwhile, you have those people who you see them once every 5 years. They make no contribution to. And they now are being allowed to cast a vote. And so the argument that has been had over the years is that these people come, they choose governments for us, and we are left here to live with the decisions they have made. Now, sometimes I don't really understand that whole argument or statement, because we have people who refuse to vote, and then they get upset when a government is chosen that they did not support. And so I believe if you don't vote, then you shouldn't even complain. If you did not vote, you should not complain and say, well, I don't like this government, or I don't like that government. You had the opportunity to cast your vote. You had the opportunity to say, well, I prefer to have this party run the administration of that party. So if you did not vote, and the party you did not want to run the administration is running the administration, hush. Simple as that. And I don't apologize for saying that. If you want to be a part of the process, nobody's there to stop you. As long as you're 18 years and older, you go to get registered to vote. Your name comes on the list, and you're eligible to cast your vote. But if you're going to say, oh, I don't believe in the voting thing, I don't believe in voting, or somebody has to pay me to vote, then, I mean, it's crazy, you know, it's really, really crazy. But I still believe that people should be allowed to come home and cast their vote, especially those people who have been making and are making a contribution to St. Kitts and Nevis' development. There are people, as I said, who don't live here, but they do more than those who reside here. People who reside here, we talk, and we say what needs to be done. But the people who don't live here, they are the ones who make sure things are done. Sometimes we would hear of donations being made to the Ministry of Health in terms of hospital beds and hospital equipment. And these equipment come from the people who reside overseas. So now how do you tell them they can't participate in the electoral process? It's 20 minutes to the hour of 12. We'll take this short break to say thank you to our sponsors. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation on voices. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. Let's take this short break, and we will be right back.
Buying your medication is easy with City Drug Store's curbside pickup. WhatsApp our certified pharmacist at 662-8769 with your requests. For prescriptions, take a clear photograph and send for review. We will engage you in dialogue and then provide a quotation and link for payment. You can then pay via TDC's online payment portal. And once the transaction is complete, you'll be notified that your pickup is ready. Yes, it's that easy. Send your WhatsApp message to 662-8769 to order your medications today with City Drug Store's curbside pickup service.
Your computer or phone is your flow cashier. Thanks to Fast Pay on our website, it's a quick and easy way to pay your bills anytime on any device. No need to register. Simply select the bill to be paid, enter your account number or mobile number and the amount you wish to pay, plus where to email the receipt. Then make the credit card payment. It's that easy. Fast Pay for flow bill payments at discoverflow.co.
Cool. Energize your goals with Lucasade. Get it cool. Look under the cap. Find the code. Win it. Thousands in prizes. iPhones and TVs. Or win 30 grand US dollars for your goals. That's goals.
For a chance to win 30,000 US dollars. Purchase any Lucasade Energy promo bottle. Look under the cap and find the code to win iPhones, TVs, and free Lucasade for 30,000 US dollars to energize your goals. See website, social media, or press for details. Lucasade, taste the energy.
Welcome back to Voices on WINN FM 98.9. It is just 17 minutes to the hour of 12 when you're listening to Voices on WINN FM 98.9. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. The phone lines are still open. Call us and let us have this conversation. Are you in support of absentee ballots, or you believe in people coming home to cast their votes? As I said, we've seen over the years where hundreds and thousands of people return home whenever elections are called, local Nevis Island Assembly elections and federal elections. And we see people coming in their numbers to come home and cast their votes. While there are some people that believe that this should not be the case, this should not happen, this should not be the case, because some people believe that, voting should be only for those people that live here. And while it may be a valid argument in terms of people, of course, on the ground being allowed to cast their vote, you still have people out there who, as I have said and will continue to say, they too make a contribution. They too make a meaningful and significant contribution to development here in St Kitts and Nevis. But I think this is a very interesting conversation. In the future, of course, I will be extending an invitation to political parties to get their take, which I think would be very interesting, because it would be interesting to hear political parties say they prefer overseas voters as well as voters on the ground, of course. Or it would be interesting to hear political parties say, let's just have absentee ballots, We have a caller on the line. Let us take this call. Caller, good morning. You are live on Voices.
Good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning. I'm doing fine. And you?
All right. Let's agree to disagree. You said you're in favor of people coming to vote, right?
Yes.
Okay. Question, at whose expense?
At whose expense?
Yeah.
Well, we know whenever people come home to vote, this will be organized by the political party. But if you
let me look at it. Let me look at future.
Hold on. If you believe that you should be allowed to.
Okay. No. What I'm saying, when I say let's agree to disagree. Now, it used to happen by the political parties, supporters of the political parties sponsor the flights.
Right.
Right. So what I'm saying now, let's agree to disagree. You is saying, I'm agreeing with you that they should come. But my question to you, at whose expense going forward?
That's a good question. Well, if you want to come home to vote, if you have enough time to or enough money to make contribution to development here in St Kitts and Nevis, buy your own ticket and come home and cast your vote.
Okay, so we agree on that one. Now,
I agree definitely.
Something else I was supposed pertaining to the same voting. Okay, now you're talking about the absentee ballots,
yes,
instead of people coming in person.
Yes.
The first caller brought up an issue which is very, very relevant, because here in St. Kitts you will have people voting where they don't live, and also people voting in other people's name. So if you have an absentee ballot, how would you show what is happening to the system? The other thing with parties bringing home people to vote. Sometimes a plain load of people might come from this party, but they vote for the other party.
That is so true.
So you ever heard of that?
Oh yes,
that
all the time.
supporters of a party go to meet their people, and when they go to meet their people, they show them a different color. So the politicians themselves, they have to look at what it costs in them, whether dollars and cents or the defeat. So they have to wait out to understand what they're dealing with, because betrayal is very bad. Because I have known of people go to meet their people, surprisingly, they didn't accept them because it's, as we say, betrayal. They live there in one intention, and the intention, when they leave, the people who support them to leave did know the intention. When they reach here, then they show the intention, which was not good. Because it's like, I don't know if you heard the story about animals going to a party, but you had to have hands. So at the door they say, examine the hands. So people had to, some of the animals, they didn't have hand, but they wanted to go to the party. So it's kind of a hard one to deal with at the moment. It's not a bad idea of they coming, but it's how they gonna come.
Yeah, that's a very good thing.
Yeah. It's not a bad idea, but it's how they come.
Whenever that conversation is had about if you want to come to vote by your own plane ticket, then some people tend to shy away from that conversation.
Because they can't afford it. Some people only come here once every 5 years. Yeah, some people only come here once every 5 years, and the way how they come is that the connection here they don't have, so they just come for the day or overnight. So yeah, so they come in the morning and they might fly out the next afternoon, the next morning. So the expense, what did they contribute when them who come once every 5 years? What did they contribute to the community, to the economy? They didn't contribute nothing much, because some of them themselves take a hotel room. Because it's like they come for a party. They fly in. Some of them themselves spend 24 hours. No, seriously, some of them don't spend 24 hours, and they're gone. But I don't want to disturb this one. I'll call you back after lunch pertaining to something I heard in the international news. You might be aware of it later.
Sure. Thank you so much for your contribution. It is 11:48. Caller, thank you so much for your call. It's 11:48. We're still taking calls at this time. Call us at 466-0989-762 and 662. You're listening to Voices on WINN FM 98.9. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. It's a very interesting conversation we're having at this moment, with regards to absentee ballots or overseas flights. We have just 10 minutes left to hear your contribution. What do you think? A very interesting point made by the caller a while ago in terms of, okay, yes, people being allowed to come home and vote, but at whose expense? So should the government pay for this? Should political parties have to pay for this? No, I think it would be difficult for the political parties themselves to ask people to purchase their own tickets. We've seen in many instances where a plane load of people would come. So, for example, you have a plane load come on with about 150 people, and only 20 of them can cast their vote because people come with their family, they come with their children who are unable to vote, come with people who are not registered to vote in St Kitts and Nevis.
Hello.
We have a caller. Let's take this call. Caller, good morning. You're live in Voices.
Yes, good morning. Yes, does people who live outside of St Kitts who are Kittitians or Nevisians, born Kittitians or Nevisians, does the Constitution give them that right to come back and vote? Hello?
Yes, it does. There's nothing in the Constitution that says you can't, if you live in another country, you can't come back to vote.
If the Constitution affords them that right to come back and vote, it means that they're not doing anything wrong, firstly. And if they're coming back and the political party decide we have 1,000 people overseas that we think might be favoring us, and the political party get charter flights or whatever means they use to get them here, I don't think that is wrong. If the governing party or the party that would have been in government prior to the announcing of the election, if they use government funds to bring people here, then we could say, well, we have a situation with that. But if the question is,
how do we know they're using government funds or not? Because we have never seen the books.
No, so I'm saying if meaning that by some means or the other we might find out, then it's a problem. But if we don't know, we can't accuse them of doing that, even though that might be our feelings that they might be doing it. We can't accuse them, or we shouldn't accuse them of doing it, even though it might be in our gut feeling that is what's happening. But I'm saying, if they think, because, these political parties, they get donations from company and individuals and so if they use those funds to bring people back to St Kitts and Nevis to vote, because they think those people who are bringing back is going to help them to win the election. The Constitution states that they can do it. There can be nothing wrong. Our feelings can trump the Constitution, can be over the Constitution, because the Constitution, the claim is the main and supreme law of the land. So if the Constitution gives them that right, our feelings have to be secondary. Okay? And there's another thing I wanted to talk with. And now, sending absentee ballot. I think every time we hear America do things, we think that, we should follow America with doing things. Okay? Sending absentee ballot. That would who the government, if you're accusing the government, people gonna accuse the government to use government funds to bring people into the country to vote. Won't that be how the government is gonna do it? Or how the part is that by taking government funds to send those same absentee ballots overseas to these voters? Would that be okay to do that? But it would be okay for them to take money to bring in people? When, if I am in control of the electoral system, based on how it is here in St Kitts, if I am in control of the electoral system, it doesn't mean that I can, I know where my people are, it doesn't mean that I can send more absentee ballots to them over the opposition people, because I would know who my people are.
But how do you know? How do you know who is opposition and who support the government?
Come on, people are going to question People are going to
we've seen.
Then they're going to ask, who are your family? Where you living? Which one of the constituency are you from? Okay, I'm from constituency A. The government has their supporters in constituency A. They're going to go.
Yeah, what I'm saying, what I'm trying to tell you. This is what I'm trying to tell you. Yes, those are things that could happen, or let me say could happen, but I'm not just saying you put in place an absentee ballot system and just have all these loopholes. Of course, there are so many things that you would have to look at. So it's not a situation where you take up 20 ballots and you just send them out. And so your name your name will have to be on the voters list. And in this regard, in order for you to receive an absentee ballot, you have to have what you call a mailbox. And if you don't have a mailbox, you can't get an absentee ballot. So it's not a situation where you send.
And you think that is going to go down?
So it will be the same. It will be the same. It will be the same as traditional voting, where you're only given one ballot, but of course it will be done electronically. Other countries have done it.
I am saying to you,
why it can't be done yet.
Just like out here, because when the people overseas who the government not the government, the political parties are sending for to bring them here, they find out first who are the supporters, who are they supporting, and from that, after they are comfortable knowing that, okay, Mr. A and Mrs. B are my supporters, then they give them tickets to come here. So if the government is going to be sending absentee ballot, because the electoral system is controlled by the political party that is in power, if they're going to send an absentee ballot to someone overseas, you don't think they could find out also, attempt to find out also who that person is in favor of before they send a ballot to them?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but what is your conclusion? Are you saying that the government would be allowed or can send more than one ballot to one person?
No, not send more than one ballot. I'm saying that they could send enough ballot to their people over there. Let's say they find out, okay, because not everybody might be able to come here. So if they have,
but I'm not understanding what you're trying to say.
Let's say they have 1,000 supporters. They find out that they have 1,000 supporters over there, outside of St Kitts, right? And those out of those 1,000 supporters, all cannot come. So they could send absentee ballot to all of them. And by doing that, they, like I say, they're finding out who they think the persons are supporting. So if I find out that on my third research that you're not supporting me, I'm going to delay sending a ballot to you. If I don't feel that you're supporting me, I'm going to delay sending a ballot to you and make sure the people get their ballot.
Yeah, caller, I understand what you're saying, but there will be legislation to prevent that from happening. As long as you need voters list.
Legislation to prevent a lot of things and legislation to make things happen, and it does not always go the way it's supposed to happen.
Right, but listen to what I'm saying, right? Okay, so let's use this example. So you and I, we're going to the polling station. I support one party, you support the other.
Yes.
And you may have a situation where one of us may be supporting the party that is in government. Do you think that when you show up to the polling station, because you don't support the party in power, you will be denied a ballot?
No, because we are in person.
It is impossible.
We are doing it in person. So the two of us the two of us go to the polling station. No, they won't deny me a thing if I am properly registered. Right? Wouldn't deny me, but remember when they're sending it to people, they're sending it by mail, so they don't find out all the information about the person they could possibly find out. And then if the person, those who are in charge of sending ballots to these people, that hey, you vote for me. They don't have to send it. They could send it, but
that's clearly. If that is the case, I understand what you're saying. That's a very good point. I think if that is the case, then whichever political party is in office at the time and does that, then clearly you lose the election, or there will be legal. There will be legal. What's the word I'm looking for? Legal implications, because you have 1,000 people that are registered, and you only send ballots to 500 of them because you're not sure about the other 500. Now, that gives the opposition party enough room to go to the court and have the election overturned.
No, but you're sending the ballots, you're sending the ballot papers to them. But you send it, but they receive.
I'm telling you, if your name is on the voters list and you are eligible to vote, you should receive a ballot. If you don't receive a ballot,
That's good. I am not saying that you shouldn't get one, Listen, I am not saying that you shouldn't get one, but I'm saying that I am in charge. Let me use myself. I am in charge of sending.
I understand what you're saying.
The ballot.
But I'm telling you, whichever party does that, there will be legal implications.
No, yeah, but how would you know? Because what I'm saying, listen to what I'm saying. Well, I will say, I'm going to say.
How do you know? How do you know? I know I'm registered.
No. Listen, I am saying to you, right? I am saying to you that, okay, I am in charge of sending out the ballot. Let's say I am supporting the government, right? There are thousands of request absentee ballot people, right? And I got information that, hey, look, boy, it's half, 500 for us and 500 again. I am going to send out the 1,000 ballots, but I am going to make certain that my 500 get to them on time. But the other 5, I could send them so that when it gets to them, it's not necessarily it ain't good anymore. Because by the time they get them, to get them back down here to me, the election don't happen. That's what I'm trying to say to you. And you hear about it happening in America too. By the time people get the absentee ballot papers, the election not done kept. So they ain't get nothing. They have a cut-off time to send it back in for it to be valid.
There's feedback in the background, but that's a good point. I understand what you're saying, but Carl, we're at the end of the time, so we're gonna headline news, and we'll come back after the headline news. Thank you, Carla, so much for your contribution. We are at the 12 o'clock hour, so we'll take this break for the headline news, and when we come back, we'll be continuing this conversation. Let's take this break, and we'll be back.
The Sound 98.9 WINN FM.
We now bring you the headline news. The headline news is brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, KDP Enterprises, The Grange, and Caribbean.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world, whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous. You can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International. By land, sea or air, we get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises at 466-9595.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day.
Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
We are faced with tough decisions every day, but choosing the right home or motor insurance shouldn't be one. You need fast claim settlement from a company that's been rooted for over 31 years. And don't forget the A Excellent rating by AM Best. Make the intelligent choice. Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Reliable insurance that you can count on. Get a quote today for your home, motor, contents, and liability insurance needs, and make the intelligent choice. Caribbean Alliance. Tomorrow secured. Local agents, DeLeo Walwyn & Co. Limited. Telephone 465-2631 or 469-5303 for the Nevis office.
With the WINN Headline News, I am Kevon Brown.
And I am Devon Cornelius.
Making the headlines, COVID-19, 39 inmates of Her Majesty's Prison recovered, 16 active cases. CARICOM Day celebrated with month-long I Am CARICOM activities. Internationally, Haitian President Jovenel Moïse was shot dead by unidentified attackers in his private residence overnight in an inhumane and barbaric act, Interim Prime Minister Claude Joseph said on Wednesday. Now, the details. Reports of a COVID-19 outbreak at Her Majesty's Prison began mid-June in the midst of community spread on St Kitts. Over a 3-week period, the number of cases continued rising, with the numbers recorded as of July 2nd, 55 inmates and 8 staff testing positive. In a release from Her Majesty's Prison, 39 inmates and 2 staff have now fully recovered from the COVID-19 virus as of July 6, 2021, after having 2 negative tests recently. Currently, 16 residents and 10 members of staff are still considered active cases and are in stable condition. The release also said that members of staff and residents at the prison farm on Nevis were tested over the past weekend and results all returned negative. How does distancing or isolation look in the prison? According to the Commissioner of Corrections, Terrence James, he and his team divided the cell block with a partition and placed affected residents in isolation on one side. Other methods used to help combat this outbreak, the statement said. To facilitate full recovery, those who test positive are given additional supplements, encouraged to exercise, in addition to being taken out for fresh air and sunlight. They are also visited regularly by the prison doctor. Cells were sanitized to allow for recovered residents to move out of the isolation area, end quote. The prison has also acquired protective personal equipment, PPEs, through the Ministry of Health to further prevent the spread of the virus. To date, just over 70% of the staff and approximately 50% of the residents have been vaccinated. I am CARICOM, shared CARICOM Youth Ambassador Dwayne Hendrickson in a live Facebook stream on the Ministry of International Trade, Industry, Commerce and Consumer Affairs' page on July 7th, as he shared the plans that the ministry has slotted out for the month of July to celebrate CARICOM Day, which was on July 5th, and the I Am CARICOM campaign. What are we doing locally to show that we are CARICOM?
The Ministry of International Trade, Industry and Commerce and Consumer Affairs, with the support from the CARICOM Youth Ambassador, Office of the Prime Minister, Regional Integration Unit, and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, we would have launched our calendar of activities in order to both celebrate the 48 years of CARICOM and to meet the aims and objectives of the I Am CARICOM campaign. Today, we are launching our local I Am CARICOM photo frame, which was done and created by Mr. Sylvester Dorr. This photo frame is critical to our celebration as it allows for us to showcase that Kitty vision and CARICOM identity, and not forgetting the spirit of community. You can enable this. You can enable this frame by visiting your profile. Click on your profile photo, select Add a Frame, search for I Am CARICOM SKN, and then proceed. But of course, share. Encourage one and all to follow suit and showcase that spirit of community. Later this week, our Honorable Senator Wendy Phipps would endorse the I Am CARICOM campaign. Coming this Friday, you would hear CARICOM on air, where myself would be on the radio, Sugar City FM on July the 9th to further promote this I Am CARICOM campaign. And we want you also to include the hashtag I Am CARICOM SKN. So particularly on July the 13th and 15th, this is where we're going to have some persons again doing their social media testimonies, and then we invite you to participate along with that. Now on July 19th, as you continue to promote that I Am CARICOM spirit, if you are not sure about some things of how the CARICOM region function, how the CARICOM Secretariat is laid out, or information about how can you go about attaining your CARICOM skill certificate, all of that information will be disseminated on July the 19th. And then we are inviting, if you are a local artist, you perform, you dance, you sing, you act, whatever you do. If you want artists, we want to hear our entertainers using their platforms. We want you to take just 10 seconds of your time, 15 seconds of your time. And if you have more to say about the I Am CARICOM campaign, you take the amount of time that you need to use your social media, be it Instagram, WhatsApp stories. We want to create that blast, that synergies from our local artists across St Kitts and Nevis to again spread the word. Now, after you are now educated about what is going on, you have some more information, and you would have seen the endorsement by our Honorable Senator Wendy Phipps, and you would see the local entertainers endorsing the message. Here is where you come in. So on July the 23rd, we've decided to dedicate a day where you can represent CARICOM, represent with pride. This is our I Rep CARICOM Day. We would encourage you to dress up in your CARICOM colors, be it blue, mixing it with white, or even showcasing your unique Caribbean identity. So if you have photos, for example, from you playing mass for our carnival, that is something that brings us all together. Use the frame again and put the hashtag I Am CARICOM SKN, and also the hashtag I Am CARICOM. And finally, we are closing out the month with a virtual flag raising ceremony. Now this is the first time that we're embarking and doing this, so we endeavor for this event to be large in magnitude while adhering to the COVID-19 protocols that are established here. So during the virtual flag raising ceremony, this is where we will have an official ceremony, and you would see we raise our flag high. This is where our flag will be flown with pride.
The I Am CARICOM campaign is geared towards strengthening the CARICOM identity and a spirit of community by raising individual consciousness that CARICOM is about each citizen of the Caribbean community. In order to achieve this objective, the campaign will provide information to increase visibility, awareness, and understanding of the Caribbean community, including its geography, institutions, governance structure, policies, and the benefits of the CARICOM single market and economy. CARICOM Day marks the signing of the Treaty of Chaguaramas on the first Monday of July in 1973, which established the Caribbean Community and Common Market, which would go on to become the Caribbean Community, CARICOM, with 15 member states and 5 associate members. St Kitts and Nevis has been a member of CARICOM since July 26, 1974. Prime Minister of Barbados, Mia Mottley, is strongly condemning the assassination murder of Haitian president. Quote, "The assassination of President Moïse of Haiti is an atrocious act which Barbados vehemently condemns. Violence can never be a solution and must be rejected in all circumstances. Barbados urges all to pause and work at all costs for peace. The Haitian people deserve this. It is the necessary foundation for their stability and for democracy to emerge to protect them against the many vagaries they face, man-made and otherwise." End quote. In regional news,
in this edition of the Caribbean News Roundup, coverage of the death of the former Prime Minister who led Dominica into political independence. St. Lucians going to the polls on July 26, and other developments. The news coming right up. The head of government who led Dominica to political independence in 1978, some 42 years ago, Patrick John, died on Tuesday, July 6. His passing was announced on state-owned DBS Radio on the station's lunchtime news Tuesday.
Dominica's first Prime Minister, Patrick Roland John, has died at the age of 84. A family representative, Simeon Joseph, made the announcement at the Dominica China Friendship Hospital this morning.
John's role in government and later leader of the Dominica Labour Party was acknowledged by Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerritt.
He made a tremendous contribution to Dominica's development. There are a number of interventions that he would have done in his tenure as Premier and Prime Minister of Dominica. He was also at one point the leader of the Dominica Labour Party, and his contribution to that party will always remain as part of our history, and we're really saddened by his death. We know that he has not been well for some time, but been known in sports, in particular football. Really has made his contribution, and so certainly the government of Dominica will be responsible for his burial and the associated aspects of this, and at some point we will also have the flag flown at half-staff.
Noted historian Lennox Honeychurch gave a brief history of Patrick John's transition from a trade unionist to a full-fledged politician.
He's best known as the first Prime Minister of Dominica and leader of the negotiations for Dominica's independence. He worked as a shipping clerk before leaving to organize the Waterfront and Allied Workers Union, WAU. He was elected to the Roseau Town Council and served as mayor from 1965. In 1970, he contested the general election as a member of the ruling Dominica Labour Party and won the Roseau North seat, serving in the government of Edward Oliver LeBlanc at different times. In 1974, he took over the leadership of the DLP and the government from Edward LeBlanc and prepared the party with a new, younger look for the general elections of 1975. This he won with a landslide. He became Premier, and in the following year at Salisbury, he issued the Salisbury Declaration, announcing and preparing Dominica for negotiations towards full independence. This was achieved on the 3rd of November 1978, and John became the first Prime Minister.
As a leader, Patrick John made mistakes which his critics remember well. However, activist Arthi Mate, in a commentary we requested, points to some of the traits that John displayed which were commendable.
He never allowed poor people to slip through the cracks. Even when he had to interact with the elite, the commercial elite, the political elite, the legal elite, he always remembered why he had to interact. So the kinds of schemes that he and others came up with in the Labour Party at that time were born out of an abiding commitment to making life better for all. That slogan, all shall eat, had real meaning then. Of course, he made, like all of us, he made mistakes. Some of them severe, some of them very costly. And those mistakes were made in those rare moments where he stopped listening to the voice of the people and started instead listening to that group of, if you will, feeders who began to wander to surround him, to be with him almost every waking moment at his home, the official residence at Mount Bruce, etc., etc. The question one would need to ask is a leader the function of his own internal chemistry, or is that leader the function of the chemistry between himself and the people around him? And what are the implications and lessons for us today?
Renick John is former Prime Minister John's eldest son. He spoke to reporters confirming that the retired politician had been ailing.
You were here for your father in the last moments.
Yep.
What can you tell us?
Well, he was brought there late yesterday afternoon. And when I arrived on the scene, I saw him not responding. He was breathing hard. And I realized, well, it was serious. I braced up for the worst.
You're very close to your father?
Yep. Very close.
How would you best remember him? Because I know, from time I've known you, Renick, I know you and Patrick. Been very close even when I go across there. How would you best remember Patrick?
He was like my mentor. In any advice, I will always check him for advice. Anything I have to do, I will check him for advice. He's a jovial guy because we talk a lot of politics, laugh a lot and whatever it is and things so. And he's a special guy in his own way.
You saw him last night in his final moments. When did you kind of make up your mind that he was in his final moment?
From the time I came and I saw him, because that's not it that I know.
What did you notice that was different?
Well, the way he was breathing, no response. He was not responding. Nothing.
And if you were to ask Dominicans how best to remember him, what would you say to them? Well, remember he was involved in football, Dominica's first prime minister, etc.
My father carried many caps, the youngest mayor, first prime minister. He was involved in football administration. He was a national player. He was involved in a number of things. Carnival activities, to be an MC for Calypso finals. And
Calypso writer.
Yes, he was a Calypso writer. I can remember one of his favorite songs that he was Why Black? And he was multi-talented.
Mr. John's youngest son, Nairi, also spoke of his father in glowing terms.
Well, it's heartbreaking. Come on. Anyone who loses a family member, will be broken. All right, but I believe at that point, he's done what he came on this planet to do, especially for the country, especially for its people. And I just believe that his work is over. Time to fly.
How best do you think he'll be remembered?
Well, I believe he'll be remembered for all the good things, basically, that he's done, because basically every day when I'm on the streets, when I'm in motion, I usually meet like a lot of people, especially like the elder people, right? And they always give me stories, about if it wasn't for my dad, they wouldn't have a home. If it wasn't for my dad, they wouldn't have a family. If it wasn't for my dad, they wouldn't have been able to send their kids to school, etc. So, I believe for all the good things he's contributed in terms of being a patriot.
nation. Cultural awakening. Patrick John with the barefoot man. Feel like something.
St. Lucians were informed on Monday night that they will be going to the polls on July 26. In an address to the nation, Prime Minister Alan Chasney ended months of speculation about when he would seek a new mandate from the electorate.
The general elections will be held on July 26, 2021.
July 16 will be nomination day. Prime Minister Chasney said he had taken 3 matters into consideration before announcing the July 26 election date. The 3 include ensuring the safety of St. Lucians during the campaign and voting, as well as allowing for schools used as voting centers to be closed. According to the Prime Minister, there had been agreement between the 2 major political parties to adhere to the protocols and policies regarding the efforts to curb the spread of the coronavirus.
I wish to advise you all that both political parties have agreed to abide by protocols established by the Chief Medical Officer and the Police Commissioner with a view to keeping us all safe and healthy. I implore all of you to follow these. I close tonight by announcing that the general elections will be held on July 26, 2021, and that the nomination day will be July 16th, 2021. During the campaign, let us treat each other with respect and kindness. I urge all of you to stay safe, to stay strong, and to stay united. May God bless and keep you all, and may He preserve our beloved St. Lucia.
The Vincentian government continues to carry out damage assessment from Hurricane Elsa, which passed over the island mainly in the north on Friday, July 2nd. According to Prime Minister Ralph Gonsalves, the preliminary numbers show that close to 200 houses were damaged, primarily in the red zone of the volcano, which is on the northeast of the island.
The damage was in the northeast, not overwhelming, but in pockets quite severe, particularly in the housing area and in the area of the physical infrastructure. The count isn't finished yet, but I suspect the way things are going, the reports that I'm getting from which they're being collated, the houses, Montgomery Daniel, the representative for the area, was up there yesterday, and he thinks the number of houses might be close to 200. Which have been damaged in one level or the other.
In Jamaica, Clarendon residents say Tropical Storm Elsa was a disaster. They spoke to CVM News.
Scenes of devastation in some sections of Clarendon. This is the Hayes Main Road in the parish, fully submerged in flood waters. Motorists braving the waters to reach their destination. In Racecourse, residents in the Longwood community used a different mode of transportation to move about, and in the neighboring community of Water Lane.
This is how it was, right on through the house. The rain stopped, so the water kind of draw down now. See right where it was? Yeah, water catch them. See a toilet bowl drawing down.
Meanwhile, the fire brigade had to be called in to assist residents of the Money Musk housing scheme on Seashore Drive. When our news team spoke to the residents on Monday, they say the flood water contained many things that may harm their health, including sewage. Mr. Booth was the hero of the day.
Water catch me right up here. Right up here, water catch me. So I have to swim and I walk, see if I can push my foot and I walk same time. So I'm going to the house and I'm going to the house now. I see the sermon with the baby. So I just take the baby from her and hold up the baby and I say, come, hold on for me. And take time and come out with her and the baby come straight outside. Because I couldn't stand over my yard and hear them a ball and I come help.
We have to put basket on our head. We have to take out things out of dresser, water just run through all our clothes. And just imagine all our dirty water and the stench we are run through the clothes them. Nothing is saved. Every passport, everything where you don't know say that you underneath your mattress and say you hide everything gone.
Me lost me 100 chicken when me supposed to pluck in this weekend. Everything wash out.
They say the authorities are aware of the problems in the area, as this is not the first time they are being impacted by flooding, but it's the first time they are experiencing such devastation. Robianne Williams for CVM Live.
And that's the Caribbean News Roundup for today, July 7th. I'm Ken Richards. Thanks for listening.
We now bring you these international reports.
A president killed overnight at his home. The interim Haitian Prime Minister Claude Joseph announcing the news Wednesday that President Jovenel Moïse had been shot dead, calling the killing an inhumane and barbaric act. He said Moïse was shot by unidentified attackers. He added that Moïse's wife was injured and was receiving medical care. The attack comes amid a rising wave of politically linked violence in the impoverished Caribbean nation. With Haiti politically divided and facing a growing humanitarian crisis and shortages of food, there are fears of widespread disorder. Gunshots could be heard throughout Port-au-Prince. The capital had been suffering an increase in violence as gangs battle one another and police for control of the streets. The violence fueled by an increase in poverty and political instability. Moïse had faced fierce protests since he took office as president in 2017, with the opposition accusing him this year of seeking to install a dictatorship by overstaying his mandate, charges he denied.
Distraught parents gather at the school compound, consoling one another as they wait to hear news of their missing children. Ripped sandals and empty beds are all that remain after attackers raided the Bethel Baptist boarding school in northwest Nigeria while students slept.
Just this morning, at about 6, I received a phone call that they have entered the school, kidnappers, and all our children are back, including my daughter inside.
Police say the assailants overpowered security guards and took the victims into a nearby forest. More than 24 students have been rescued. A day earlier, in a separate attack on a health center north of Kaduna City, about 12 people were abducted, including children as young as 3.
This is the 10th mass school kidnapping in Nigeria's northern region since December. 4 of those abductions happened in Kaduna State. It has prompted the state government there to order the closure of schools in rural areas that are vulnerable to attacks.
Many in northern Nigeria live in poverty and don't have jobs. The region has seen a rise in kidnapping for ransom in recent years, which is having a devastating impact on education. In 2014, the world watched in outrage as Boko Haram fighters kidnapped 276 school children from Chibok Secondary School. President Muhammadu Buhari has faced mounting criticism about his government's struggle to tackle the crisis, with families calling on the international community for help.
We stand in one voice, we condemn what has happened, and we'll protest, we'll continue to protest until our children are brought back.
But for this community, fear has spread that no school anywhere seems safe. Fidelis Mba, Al Jazeera, Abuja.
As the Delta variant spreads in Sydney, the leader of Australia's most populated state, New South Wales, extended the city's lockdown for another week. Sydney is fighting its worst outbreak of the year, with another 27 COVID-19 cases reported on Wednesday. Premier Gladys Berejiklian told reporters new cases are bound to rise.
as we've been saying, this Delta strain is a game changer. It's extremely transmissible and more contagious than any other form of the virus that we've seen.
Schools in Sydney will move to remote learning next week, and 3 hotspot areas in the city's west have been told to stay at home. Lockdowns, swift contact tracing and limits on travel have helped cases remain relatively low in the country. But Australia has been slow to vaccinate, with fewer than 10% of Australians nationwide vaccinated. Inadequate vaccine supplies have prompted widespread anger and frustration. Health authorities are also under fire for inadvertently vaccinating several high school students who are at the end of the vaccination queue. But New South Wales Health Minister deflected and pointed the finger at the media for highlighting the error.
You were listening to the WINN FM headline news on 98.9. Our top stories were COVID-19, 39 inmates of Her Majesty's prison recovered, 16 active cases. CARICOM Day celebrated with month-long I Am CARICOM activities. Internationally, Haitian President Jovenel Moïse was shot dead by unidentified attackers in his private residence overnight in an inhumane and barbaric act, Interim Prime Minister Claude Joseph said on Wednesday. Thank you for listening.
That was the WINN FM headline news. The headline news was brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, KDP Enterprises, The Grange, and Carib Brewery.
We are faced with tough decisions every day, but choosing the right home or motor insurance shouldn't be one. You need fast claim settlement from a company that's been rooted for over 31 years. And don't forget the A Excellent rating by AM Best. Make the intelligent choice. Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Reliable insurance that you can count on. Get a quote today for your home, motor, contents, and liability insurance needs, and make the intelligent choice. Caribbean Alliance. Tomorrow secured. Local agents, Dalil Walwyn & Co. Limited. Telephone 465-2631 or 469-5303 for the Nevis office.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com. Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world, whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous. You can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air, we get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises at 466-9595.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is WINN FM.
Value Mart IGA Value Club Blue Tag Specials from July 1st through 14th. Essential everyday apple juices, just $6.99. IGA canned vegetables, $2.99. IGA peanut butter, creamy and crunchy, $7.99. Almond breeze milk, $12.99. Essential everyday bar and shredded cheeses, just $7.99. Wishbone salad dressings, just $8.99. And now our very low weekly value deals. Kraft barbecue sauces, $5.99 each. Essential everyday pastas, $2.99. IGA squeezed ketchup, $3.99. Equaline mouthwash, 1.3 to 1.5 liters, just $9.49. Shop smart, shop Value Mart. Sea listo y haga sus compras a Value Mart.
Welcome back to Voices on WINN FM 98.9. You are listening to WINN FM 98.9. I'm your host for today's edition of Voices, Devon Cornelius. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for staying tuned. Those of you who have joined us via the radio, of course, those of you listening via other social media platforms and any other means. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. It is 12:43 and you are listening to Voices. Today is Wednesday, July 7th, 2021. For those of you who missed the first half of the program today, we spoke about, or we entertained a conversation about absentee ballots versus overseas flights. Very interesting points that were made by the callers. You can open the phone lines right now and we're going to get some callers in. The numbers to call are 466-0989-762 and 662. We have our first call for this afternoon. Let's take this call. Caller, good afternoon. You are live on Voices.
Good afternoon, Mr. Caller.
Good afternoon, caller.
Yeah, very interesting morning session. And actually, I think it was very insightful of you to raise that topic now. For it is one of a number of cans that we keep kicking down the road. Okay.
So?
Yeah, this idea of absentee ballot. that question, I think, may be the solution, as you suggested, for quite a number of problems in our electoral system, okay? Certainly for the overseas flights, that essentially they corrupt our electoral process, for it introduces large sums of money into the elections. We already have a problem of treating, okay, and this just adds to it. And we know who pays the piper or calls the tune. So there is a price indeed, or kickbacks, or whatever you want to call them, to be paid afterwards when we engage in these kinds of electoral practices. You mentioned the CBI, okay, citizens that I guess introduces another kind of controversy. For it basically introduces the concept of first and second class citizens. Sure, they may have signed on to something that say they can't vote, okay, and maybe that is legal. I don't know if it is legal according to our constitution, I don't know. But it certainly begs the question as to what really constitutes a citizen. Maybe they should be called by another term, some special kind of resident or something. Okay? I really don't believe in first and second class citizenship. But given that is how we structure our CBI, I think it's necessary that that stipulation that they can vote be included, or we would find ourselves being governed remotely by Chinese or Arabs or some other nationality. Okay? I understand too the difficulty in changing the current system, where we have plain laws coming in overnight to cast their vote and then leave, because generally speaking, if one has a right, you can't just take it away. That's not natural justice, okay? So for new voters, we can perhaps legislate changes, but grandfather out or put sunset clauses on the current regulations to govern how overseas voters participate in our election. I think that technology has advanced to the point where we can, in fact, ensure integrity in the system. But as you mentioned, tradition is important. Yeah, but tradition is important. There's nothing more fundamental to the one man, one vote, or one man, one woman vote, going into a polling booth and casting that one vote to exercise their democratic right to choose who should represent them. You know, there's a certain amount of tradition and comfort in seeing that happen. Okay, but reliance on machines will come with time, I think, as people become more confident in using them. Now callers seem to want to throw the kitchen sink at absentee ballots, but nothing they have said can convince me that this is not the way to go. All the problems that and kinks that they are worried about can be ironed out. Okay? If, and that's a big if, it's acceptable to all parties and the voters. What is ironic about the 2015 elections is that everybody, including the law lords in London, who eventually pronounced on the boundaries, everybody realized that the elections were being fought on boundaries that was an affront to one man, one vote, which is the essence of democracy. And yet here we are in 2021, 6 years after, still with the same skewed boundaries. And it looks as though we're going into the NIA elections and 2025 elections with the same boundaries. So I don't detect an appetite to do the necessary electoral, including boundaries reform, right? And that's why I call your intervention now very timely. It reminds us that there's still a lot of work to do. Okay? The current government went in promising an independent electoral commission and electoral and campaign finance reform, and have done nothing to initiate the process. It's high time we put an independent electoral commission in place to deal with all these matters. So it isn't just one thing, like absentee voters, absentee ballots, right? It's a whole number of other things that should make our elections free and fair. The whole system needs changing, okay? And whatever controversies there are, it should not be left up to the sitting government to tamper with electoral reform. It has to be an inclusive process, right? It has to be something that the opposition and the government side are comfortable with. Yeah, we have to.
Like a committee or a board is set up, comprised of members from both government and opposition. If this is left in the hands of the sitting administration, then that will be a recipe.
Yeah, they're going to try to gain a particular advantage. I mean, it's just that has to be accepted by everybody concerned, okay? Because technically speaking, you know, we are operating with an illegal government because the election was contested on boundaries that, according to the Constitution, were not fair. Oh, we accept it because, well, to not accept it, I think, would cause chaos. But we have to realize that this is not the best that we can do, and try and implement changes, and not piecemeal changes either. No point solving one problem and then create 10. Do a comprehensive, fair system. Bring in outside observers or consultants if necessary. Okay? But make sure whatever comes out of all this from this exercise is fair to everybody. Okay? And that would ensure the democratic process and avoid the kind of foolishness that we see happening in places like Haiti, for instance, where you have, or other parts of the world where you have governments being changed through insurrection or assassination and that kind of nonsense. We don't want those kind of foreign stuff here in our country. And so it's incumbent on everybody, not just the government. And I would have thought civil society would have jumped in here, because it's not on one side or the other. It's for the country, right? I would have thought they would have jumped in here and say and demand that these things be given priority, because we don't want to go down the route of changing governments by these unsavory means. Okay? That's my point of view.
Thank you, Carl, so much for your contribution. Meaningful, very, very meaningful, and good points that you are indeed making. We're still taking calls at this time. The numbers to call are 466-0989-762 and 662. Call us and be a part of this discussion. Yes, there people would have their fears, or people would be hesitant to go to this new approach in terms of having absentee ballots versus people coming home to cast their vote. I think this is a conversation that needs to be had. I think this is a conversation that really needs to be entertained, and something that we really need to move forward to, because we, as I've said before, flights come home, hundreds, thousands of people come, and it begs the question, who is paying for all of this? And accusations have surfaced that sitting governments, they are the ones who pay for their supporters to come from the government treasury. And opposition parties, of course, they would get investors to invest millions of dollars to bring home flights. Now, if you have an absentee ballot, you send a ballot to the individual, and they vote from the comfort of their home. They vote from home, they vote from work, they vote wherever they are. And if you do believe that you want to come, if you believe that you should come, then you pay your way, and you come, you cast your vote. We have a caller on this line. Let's take the call at this moment. Caller, good afternoon. You are live on Voices.
Devon, how are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Oh. Now, you see, what we lack in this country is people who are objective and people of integrity. I recall when we had that so-called electoral reform. You see, people were saying, no, it is best, clean up and everything. To tell you the truth, the one we had last year, COVID taught us a lesson, you know, that you can have election without bringing in people. COVID taught us a lesson because you saw the result of it. And in the 2015 one, when you were talking about people it is this putting on people on plate and hauling them off that kept them back. And I always say we need to have campaign financing legislation. It is done in other countries, Barbados and other countries. Why it can't be done here? Why?
Do you think, Mrs. Henry, do you think that is something that political parties here in St Kitts and Nevis are ready for?
Hello. Let me tell you something, see? Political parties are not ready for anything. They work out what is in their best interest, right? Everything is based on, can I win? That's it. That is it, you know. The advisors tell them how they can win. I mean, I recall, I think since 2010, I used to be on the radio taking part in a panel discussion on WINN FM. And I remember when we brought up campaign financing. And the dubious thing, because in other countries they try leaders, you know. Who are the people who are financing the campaign? Because it is obvious that the parties don't have any money. But when election time comes, man, you can get 10 shirts, 6 bags, food, music. You see what I'm talking about? Which not even the private sector here can afford. But after the election, you hear this. I mean, you got to be realistic.
We know that, you know, around election, political parties they come up with hundreds of thousands of dollars. I would dare say millions of dollars.
But look at it this way. You see all of these nice
if we had to do that legislation where they would have to reveal where they get this money from, that would be very, very interesting.
Jamaica and Trinidad, they can receive, you know, but they set the limit. And they have to declare it. They have to declare it. They have to say who gave it. We just say, oh, you know, these people don't want their names to be known. You hear a political party with a story, right? In these countries, and these are CARICOM countries, they have to declare who gave these big contributions. Imagine you had 27 hours of jet line up on the airport in a small country, you know? My God. You know? That changed the balance of power. So when people want, oh, you know, we want overseas voters. They don't want, we talk about corruption and integrity in public life. We're not serious. We're not serious. We're so accustomed to running corrupt elections. And we hope for the best. That's all. And this thing about the boundaries. The one that they had in 2015 was gerrymandering. And I could have said that. When you're going to draw the boundaries deliberately to move people out of a constituency, an area in a constituency where the opposition may be stronger, and attach them to yours. You call that electoral reform? You know, it makes no sense. What they need to do right now is to increase the number of seats. That is the answer, you know. Nevis have to get 1/3.
Where would you propose these seats go?
No, remember that according to the Constitution, I think Nevis has to have 1/3, right? 1/3.
Yes.
Whatever you plan to put in St Kitts, know that you might have to add one more to Nevis or so. That is the only way out of this debacle we have. Otherwise, we only talk. I mean, when I heard how Dr. Douglas had these things drawn up, he and his people, I mean, that was ridiculous. Very, very ridiculous. But we need to have honest conversation. And we need serious. You know, a gentleman, Mr. Walker, came from Jamaica. You ever heard about the name? I think he's in charge of the Jamaica electoral whatever. Yes. And the time Pam was in opposition, and he was the speaker, he gave a perfect, a complete good layout of what they're doing in Jamaica, which we could do. It will solve a lot of the distrust, confusion, you know. But you see, the truth is, when parties are in opposition, I say it again, they always know what should be done. And when they get in, they pocket it. And then the one who comes in after does the same thing. So what are we going to do? What can we do? What can we do? Because you're young. What can we do? The young people are no better, you know. They're part of this same corrupt system. You hear parties talking about, oh, we have young people. And when you listen to them, you want to know where it. They can't think for themselves. I am yet to hear them say they want more constituencies in St Kitts. This thing of cutting up and cutting up what we have now going to just lead to more confusion. The same thing in Nevis. And this gerrymandering, the gerrymander laws, I mean, it is a shame what went on in, I think in 2007. If they were honest, we would have a better and a cleaner electoral process. Because on the commission, while you're talking about the commission, the government has two, and they have two. And then there is the head of the commission. So they're party to anything. A lot of this story that, and they want an independent. If you got equal amount on the panel, you have representatives there, but we're so accustomed to cook up the election. That's why COVID did us a favor. All the balling you hear, what are they balling for? They're balling because the plain loads of people couldn't come. Is that the way to the government? It shows up the weakness in our system. And I hope something else come up in 2025 when nobody could come again. Then we will see how strong the parties are on the ground. Because it shows up the weakness in the parties, You're aware of that?
I'm listening to you.
It shows the weakness of the parties on the ground. If you can't win an election without the outside thing, then your party is weak. Whether it is PEP, LEP, PAM, or whatever. If you cannot win the election at home without an influx, an overwhelming of the system by people, and then turning around now, having sold thousands of passports to other citizens, and the same people now are talking about we should owe second-class citizens. When you were selling them these thousands of passports and the law was there, why didn't you change it? I tell you, whenever parties go into opposition, all that they do, when they were doing it was right, and as soon as they come out, it's wrong. The young people are no better.
Right. We're going to take some more calls, Mrs. Henry.
Right,
Thank you so much for your contribution. It is just 5 minutes past the hour of 1. We're still taking calls here on Voices. You're listening to WINN FM 98.9. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. We are still taking the numbers to call are 466-098-9762 and 662. The conversation is centered around absentee ballots versus bringing in lights. We are still taking calls. If we have no callers on the line, we will take a short break to say thank you to. Okay, we have a call on the line. Let's take this call. Caller, good afternoon. You are live on Voices.
Yes. Mr. Cornelius, what I don't understand, I would have imagined that the main purpose of talk shows like yours is to come up with solutions, not to say that, not to throw our hands up and say, what do we do? Or to say the young people are no different. What we want is a better system. We want improvement. Okay? And so I do not accept for 1 minute that what you're engaging in here is a history lesson. Because if you're gonna have a history lesson, we can go way back. Okay? But how does that move the ball forward? Right? I mean, Mrs. Henry mentioned things like gerrymandering. I am sure that the governing politicians would like to gerrymander. Okay? But if I recall properly, it was actually a court case by the then opposition, right? It was actually an accusation that a judge dismissed, found no case of gerrymandering. Okay? And so, you know, we have to deal with the facts straight off, right? We have to find a way to advance the ball, and the only way of doing that, I would think, is to do what was promised, and that is have an independent electoral commission that looks at all these matters. And to say that we have one now is disingenuous, because we know what we have now. All right? Much too close-knit. It should be a broad-based commission that includes as many stakeholders as possible, that everybody has confidence in, and let them go through the changes that needs to be done. Okay, that's the only way we would be able to advance the ball. Okay, and so that is the point I want to make, that we should be advocating for solutions that give us a better electoral system in the future. Right now, everybody agrees that the system is broken. And even just increasing the number of seats, that is not guaranteed that it will fix it. What you need is something comprehensive, that regardless of what parties or the personalities in power, it's a level playing field, and everybody can compete on that same level playing field, and we have a free and fair election. And definitely, I mean, the campaign finance reform has to be part of that. We have to take the money out of the elections as far as possible, all right? Because you don't just hear of corruption in terms of the treating and the bribing and those sorts of things. You also hear of campaign funds going missing and those sorts of things as well. We need a much more transparent system. We don't have that now. So how do we get it? We can't just sit here and wring our hands and say it will always be like this. It has always been like that. We have to advance the ball. Okay then.
Right. Thank you so much, Carter, for your contribution. Let's take a short break to say thank you to the sponsors for this program. And when we come back, we'll continue taking some calls. Let's take this break and we'll be right back.
King Ocean, king of the Caribbean seas, announces king-size savings on shipments from Miami to St. Kitts. We have the best service and competitive rates on LCL and FCL cargo, including D&E containers, cars, heavy equipment, buses, boats, and barrels from Miami to St. Kitts. LCL pickup service anywhere in the U.S. Call local agents SL Horseman and Company Limited at 869-465-4086 or 869-662-5008 for further details. King Ocean's king-size savings on shipments from Miami to St. Kitts and Nevis. King Ocean, king of the Caribbean seas.
Here are your Horsford's Value Mart IGA Value Club Blue Tag specials from July 1st through 14th. Essential everyday apple juices, just $6.99. IGA canned vegetables, $2.99. IGA peanut butter, creamy and crunchy, $7.99. Almond grease milk, $12.99. Essential everyday bar and shredded cheeses, just $7.99. Wishbone salad dressings, just $8.99. And now our very low weekly value deals. Kraft barbecue sauces, $5.99 each. Essential everyday pastas, $2.99. IGA squeezed ketchup, $3.99. Equaline mouthwash, 1.3 to 1.5 liters, just $9.49. Shop smart, shop Value Mart. Sea listo y haga sus compras a Value Mart.
Welcome back to Voices. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. We are still taking your calls. The numbers to call are 466-0989-762 and 662. I'm entertaining some the opinions and comments from members of the public as it relates to absentee ballots versus overseas flights. The phone lines are open. We are taking your calls. Again, the numbers to call for those of you who are just tuning in, 466-0989-762 and 662. You can also send us a comment via the WhatsApp number at 662-2204, or you can leave us a comment on the Facebook live stream at WINN Media SKN. No, you cannot call into the program via Facebook. We're only taking calls at 466-0989-762 and 662. We're not taking calls via WhatsApp or Facebook. So sorry for that inconvenience. It is 1:13. We're going to end this program at 1:30. So I'll be taking calls up until the end time for this program. It's a very interesting conversation that we're having, and it is opening up different topics in terms of constitutional reform, electoral reform, and campaign financing, in terms of people knowing where monies come from for these elections that we have had over the years, and of course, future elections. And so where we see paraphernalia, we see flights coming in, we see lots of things being bought, and it raises the question, where is this money coming from? Of course, if you are an investor and you feel that you want to invest in this political party, you may not want your name to be published because you're investing in this party, but you don't want people to know that, okay, you spent millions, you have been spending millions or thousands of dollars on this party. And one can understand that because you have private investors, people who rather invest but not have it broadcast. We have a caller on the line. Let's take this call. Caller, good afternoon. You're live.
Yeah, good afternoon, Devon. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, what's your topic for today?
I'm entertaining a conversation about absentee ballots versus overseas flights. Trying to get the opinions of our callers. What is your opinion on that?
Well, my opinion on that all the time that I believe that we should revamp the overseas flight to come into work, to vote. I believe the people in the Federation who working here, who doing whatever here, I believe that if the people want to come and come vote, they come vote because it's their country. They have a right to come vote, but come on their own ticket. I do not believe no party and no government supposed to take the taxpayers' money and bring nobody in the country to vote. You understand? They live here. So somebody might contribute to tax here, but they're feeling the pain here. They're feeling the squeeze here. And they want to move to something else. Now, we're in a situation with the deadly COVID. Everybody knows that. The whole world knows that. The whole world see that. And he got some callers just calling in just to lambaste the government and the task force for the job they are doing. We ain't create COVID. Nobody doing it. We don't even get the real factor how COVID comes. We ain't all connected things. And you're going to get one different callers calling in a different program. Check the Prime Minister, talk all kind of negative about the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister, we coming for who? You understand? And I believe that as talk show hosts, you all got to ease up some of these ignorance, some of these callers coming with it. You understand? And come with the positive things. You understand? Because look at it. Now, if I ain't supporting a political party, you understand? I live in the country. I benefiting from the government where at the present. Whatever they do, well, I get in the duty or whatever they're doing to uplift this country. Because we're supporting the country, government, everything that the government do wrong and everything that you come out negative. No, Devon, this thing got to change. We are one. We as one. We see when we see party. We see party. Election is every 5 years, and I believe that in every 5 years, and if you want to be in the campaign mood and come on the political motive, I wouldn't think. But election just gone, and election just gone, Devon, with one man criticizing the Prime Minister for 2015. 2020 come, they went to the poll again, and the same Prime Minister and the Unity Party has won the election convincingly. If the Prime Minister was so wicked and bad as they're saying, the people will vote for the Prime Minister again? Or vote for the Unity government again? So that's how we get the Prime Minister leadership over this country? I do not believe so. We got to stop looking in this country and put away our political ignorance. And think about your country and think about your people. Not attacking. And that wouldn't put the people of this country anywhere coming in and attacking because people are listening. People in the diaspora are listening to them and listening to the ignorance that come preaching every day. We in a pandemic, man. Oh my God. Got some patient now. All the Prime Minister locked down people. All over the world people locked down. You can't think about people locked down there, man. All country locking down because of this deadly corona. We only got 3 deaths so far. Well, let me thank God, man. All right, then.
Thank you so much for your contribution. You're listening to Voices on WINN FM 98.9. With regards to what I will say, everyone is allowed to call in on this program and hear their views. If you call in and you have something to say and it is not in support of the government, then I can't tell you can't do that. Same goes for people who wish to call in and express their views for people who support the government. So I want to entertain conversation. I want to entertain sentiments from people who support the government and people who do not support the government. of course, you do so being respectful. I'm not going to allow you to call in and disrespect anybody on the program. But whether you are a supporter of the government or not, I am going to allow you to call in and to hear your views. You see, we have a situation here where now we have people, or let me say, okay, so you have the ruling party, the government in power, you have the opposition. And the opposition would come with a strong debate and say, this is wrong, or that is wrong, or this should have been done that way, and that should have been done this way. But I think sometimes we forget, or we pretend to forget, or we just deliberate and mean we're going to be forgetful or ignorant. Because I would say that there's some people now who are saying that people from the opposition who are being ignorant, or people from the opposition who are trying to bring down the government. When they were in opposition, they did the same thing. They did the same thing. So, you know, when we are accusing people of being political or always talking about politics or trying to bring down the administration, I'm saying that there are other people that have done the same thing. But now that they are in government, then they're singing a different tune. And this has been happening for years. I'm not pointing any fingers at any person in particular, but I'm saying this has been happening over the years. When your party is not in power, you have more room to find fault. And everything is right. Everything is something that is not new. This is this. Let's take this call. We have a call. Okay, we seem to have lost that caller.
Yeah, Devon, you there? Hello.
Yes, caller. Good afternoon.
Yeah, Devon,
Can you hear me?
No, yeah, I hear you. Now, Devon, listen to me. Now, we in a crisis, the whole world in a crisis. Everybody know that this government here, from the time they get in, they say that they will do from they wouldn't do. The $500 alleviation program, the poverty alleviation program, where the government come and put. Never before, no government in the thing see that. And then administration is think it see that. We had the pay off the IMF. We had the VAT. We went things off the VAT. We were stifling the ordinary man in this country. And this $500 where the Prime Minister bring on the stream, that the poor and ordinary man who working under $3,000 a month, who got children, some of them getting paycheck from paycheck. That $500 every month could help those people. You understand? But you know what the opposition taking them though? They know something good, you know. But hear what they're saying now, because they know something good. Hear what they're saying. All the money ain't going to the right set of people. And the most labor people getting the $500 a month. The labor supporters. I have nothing against that. They are the citizens of this country. They are the people of this country. They tax in this country. But these are the people who getting the $500 a month. You understand? Because they went forward for it. So you never hear no good coming from outer these people mouth who criticizing the government and saying all kind of manner of thing about Dr. Harris this and Dr. Harris that. Dr. Harris wicked and he bad. You think people hate these people. And that man will relieve the poor and ordinary man in this country. Devon. Man, we got to get some kind of conscience. The young man them you up and down to take up gonna kill one another. Devon, you see that happening now? Killing one another, and you know because of that, that's them $500 a month. Where some of them parents again. Poverty. This government has pulled the country out of. And these people never see that when the government was in. The leader never see that. that the ordinary man and woman suffering because they're working for under $3,000 a month and to hurt them with a $500 or whatsoever. Just criticizing because of criticizing sake. But they're not going to say no. You got some people in this country, right? When the Labour Party is in opposition, they find all kind of things, nothing government in to destroy the country. That this government, the Labour Party could see if they could get back in government. Look what we're using. Look the strategy of the COVID. The strategy of the COVID. But I'm telling people, right? You got people out there about the green package. Because the people, poor people, this and people in quarantine and can't get this and can't get that. But I'm telling them, Devon, no, who to take this package from. Because these people will destroy to do anything to bring down the government and wind those package. You understand? They will do anything to bring down this government. I am taking a chance with not one of them when it come to the Labour side. They're ignorant, they don't want to listen to people, look at the leader. And they're coming on anyway, just let the leader attacking people. All right then.
Run to Hosford's Furniture and Appliances in Ashley Furniture Home Store now and get a chance to win free groceries for 1 year. By popular demand, Cashback is back, but this time Cashback is back with more quality appliances, more great prices and fantastic deals, more of Hosford's fabulous FlexPay payment plan, and more free groceries. A whole year of free groceries. Come to Hosford's Furniture and Appliances in Ashley Furniture Home Store today and get absolutely free groceries with every higher purchase and a chance to win free groceries for 1 year. Great deals on furniture and appliances. Get cash back for free groceries with FlexPay higher purchase and a chance to win free groceries for 1 year with every $500 spent. All great reasons to shop at Hosford's Furniture and Appliances in Ashley Furniture Home Store this coupon season. Terms and conditions apply. See stores for details.
King Ocean, king of the Caribbean seas, announces king-size savings on shipments from Miami to St Kitts. We have the best service and competitive rates on LCL and FCL cargo, including D&E containers, cars, heavy equipment, buses, boats, and barrels from Miami to St Kitts. LCL pickup service anywhere in the U.S. Call local agents SL Horsman and Company Limited at 869-465-4086 or 869-662-5008 for further details. King Ocean's king-size savings on shipments from Miami to St Kitts and Nevis. King Ocean, king of the Caribbean seas.
Welcome back to Voices, WINN FM 98.9. Let me apologize for that glitch we had there. Let's take this last caller, and we're going to close the phone lines. Caller, quickly. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Good afternoon. I just calling to approve Mr. Politics' message. Everything he said, right on point. Mr. Politics, you have a blessed day. I approve your message. Very good. Excellent. Good afternoon. Bye.
Right. Thank you so much, caller, for your contribution. We are now at the end time. I'll just give my closing comments, and we're going to wrap up this edition of Voices on WINN FM 98.9. And I want to share this last comment, and we can agree, we can disagree. Now, it's similar to what I said before, but let me further expound or further explain it. Now, we would have people that would call or people that would express their views about the administration. So you may be a supporter of the opposition. And we see where opposition supporters would find the mistakes and the faults and things that the government did not do right. Now, there is absolutely nothing wrong with that because we live in a democratic society and you should be allowed to express your views whether or not it is in support of the current administration or not. If everybody is to sing the same tune and say, well, the government is holy and the government is doing everything right, then that's not democracy. And you create room, in my opinion, for corruption because you're not going to call out your government when they're wrong. You're not going to tell them, well, this is not right or that is not right or you think it should have been done better, in this regard. At the same time, you're not just to oppose for opposition's sake. And I know sometimes as opposition supporters, you may see something that the government does. And you know in your heart that, okay, this is something good and the government needs to be applauded for it. But some people are not that open to doing such. But let me say as well, the same way that as supporters of the ruling party, the same way we can say, well, this is what the government has done, or list of these were the mistakes that the government made. This is where we think there should be improvement. So I do not want to entertain or I do not want to create a room where only people who support the government should be allowed to express their views and should be allowed to list the accomplishments of the administration. As I've said before, whether you support the government or not, you are allowed to call into this program and you're allowed to state your views and your opinions, of course, being respectful. But if I am to tell you, well, because you support the opposition and you're always calling in to say that the government making mistakes and abusing the government and cussing the government, I'm not going to take your call, then I infringe upon your right. So whether you support the government or not, you call in and you share your views. Of course, I welcome you, whether you support the government, whether you support the opposition. But if we can, the same way as a supporter of the administration of the government, that you would call and you would list the accomplishments of the ruling party, the same way I should allow somebody from the opposition to call in and say, I think this is where the government went wrong. And I think too many a times, and this is not something new, so I'm not pointing my finger at any person in particular, but this has been happening for years. Whenever our parties are in power, our political party is in power, we find no fault. There is absolutely nothing wrong. And sometimes we know that the parties make mistakes. Sometimes we know that things that they're doing are not right. But because of our blind support for the political parties, whether it be the party that is in power or the party that is in opposition, we refuse to call them out. We refuse to call them out. So this is not something that is where only Labour supporters calling in to cuss the government. There are people who support the administration who would call in and say, this is not right, or I don't like how this is going, or I don't think it should have been done that way. What I'm trying to say here, to those of you who are listening to this program, I am going to entertain the views, comments, and opinions of people who support the government and people who do not support the government. This is a democratic society, and people should be allowed to express their views. Of course, being respectful. The moment you get disrespectful is when I'm going to cut you off. But I'm not going to be a part of censorship, and I'm not going to be a part of filtering anything to say, well, let me let this person call and say what they like and then chastise this person. No. You call, you share your views, you be respectful, and I see absolutely no problem with that. If this is the behavior that we're going to have where we are afraid to say when things are wrong, or we just want to say everything is wrong, then what do we expect? because we have younger people who are looking up. We have younger people who are trying to learn. And so that is why this behavior is going to continue. And this is not a new behavior, because I can safely say that the people who are in government now, when they were in opposition, they found every fault with the administration. But we have to end this program. So let me say thank you guys so much for your contribution. And coming up next is Working for You. Stay tuned to WINN FM 98.9.
Here are your Horsford's Value Mart IGA Value